Hey everybody, and welcome to Elden Dogs, your favorite podcast about Elden Ring and beer and Mai Tais and Elden Ring. It's been a while since we recorded. You might not know that just from listening, because if you're listening to this on the regular feed, then it might just be like a month between. But we haven't talked an Elden Dogs episode for probably about 6 weeks now.
Is it really that long? Because I just can't keep up anymore.
I mean, the last time we talked was Ray Lucaria.
Oh my God.
It was a while ago. My name is Sir Gideon Offneer. I am the most intelligent, best-looking person in the land. My daughter sucks, and she betrayed me, but I don't really care because she's just some stupid barbarian. They have their uses, though. Am I right?
Yeah, sure. Totally.
We have one of our usual suspects over here.
Dylan the Dung Eater.
What's new in the Dung Eater's life?
I don't know, man. I just keep bashing my head against walls.
It'll work eventually.
Exactly. We also have a new guest. First time. No, not first time.
First time for Elden
me.
Dogs.
First time for
Elden Dogs. We have
Miles, a.k.a. Blaidd, the most depressing shadow ever created.
I actually learned something about Blaidd today. I found out after the Radon Festival, Blaidd gets locked up in one of the Ever jails.
Oh, there's a very good reason for that.
Because he might go a little crazy.
A little bit. one of the most heartbreaking sub stories in that entire game.
I like that you can find Blaidd's helmet in a random area. Well, it's a helmet that looks like Blaidd's head, but Blaidd himself, that's just his head. But you can get something that makes you look like you're wearing Blaidd's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely not just Blaidd's hollowed out insides or outsides that you're just putting on over. We just found out a little bit ago that you two know each other from before outside of Elden Ring.
Times Square Pizzeria represent.
Old school.
Oh man, I was there for 1 year before it all shut down. My fault, clearly.
Oh, yeah. Just the minute you showed up, it all went downhill, man.
Yeah, I didn't make things exponentially better.
Well, that'll happen. That's great though that you guys know each other. That's kind of funny.
I made the dough every day.
Oh yeah,
but not the money.
Well,
I mean, it was good dough, but the pay was crap.
Mm-hmm. If you're listening, Sean, yeah, it was pretty bad.
So, yeah, we're here. We're back. Alexander Ironfist, unfortunately, is stuck somewhere, was unable to join us. Our heart goes out to you, Alex. But today we are heading out east, and we're going to enter the beautiful land of Caelid.
Beautiful's a word for it, yeah.
Well,
it is kind of pretty.
In the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, I guess so.
Nighttime, it's a little better unless you're getting attacked by Knights Cavalry or Deathrite Birds or Bell-bearing Hunters.
Yeah, that's true.
Caelid is probably the most hellish landscape. It's one of, I'd say, possibly the most unbalanced areas in that there are sections which you can be relatively low leveled. And then there are sections which I was a level 150 character trying to clean up some bosses, and I still was running into major headaches today.
Yeah.
And that's endgame,
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was surprising. I was surprised. I was watching Uncharted last night on Netflix.
Oh.
And Tom Holland says Caelid is actually Latin for heaven, and Caelid is one of the little areas in this place. You can find the Caelid ruins, and Caelid has the same CAE. Coincidence, irony, or I think possibly back in the day, Caelid used to probably be a pretty beautiful place.
Maybe.
Before the shattering happened and all of that. But yeah, Caelid's pretty fun. What was your guys' first reaction when entering the hellscape?
Physically the most intimidating. You don't know where to start. You just kind of show up in this place and it kind of looks like the opening to Berserk, or the eclipse in Berserk, if you guys have ever read it. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm drinking both a mocha Starbucks thing and a Paradox red beer, which I bought solely because it has red in the title.
Yeah, and we also have a Tiki Rum Mai Tai from Blaidd over here because we're going on a tropical vacation to
I see
Caelid.
how that is. Yeah. I stumbled into Caelid on accident. I got transported there.
As most people do.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely my first transport into Caelid.
Which is the worst way to enter it objectively, because you're coming out into a swamp full of giant sea squirts of rot instead of...
Sea squirts.
Well, I mean, it's bad enough if you take that way into the crystal tunnel, you're getting bombarded by the pests who have those projectiles, and then you finally escape because you have to escape. You can't just like travel out to a site of grace, and then you get out, and then you're by the meanest fucking swamp in the world, and it only gets worse.
Yeah. I mean, that whole swamp area is really interesting. There's no actual like bodies of water except for the ocean in this game that actually like submerge you.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere it's knee high, maybe waist high.
It's something I've really been observing because I'm trying to clean up in the game too. And it's just like, oh, there's just no actual lakes.
Maybe there used to be.
You think?
I think that might be part of why the, kind of a backtrack, but the Academy of Raya Lucaria is on that weird, like, central
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain
raised
the
platform, and the entire rest of everything is on the lower section. It would make sense if
But
that
then wouldn't
used to
that
be a
have been
lake,
submerged?
presumably. Or it was built after the lake was drained.
Or maybe they're
That actually makes a little.
or maybe
bit
they're
more sense.
magically keeping it raised. I could see that being possible as well. We'll learn a little bit about Caelid before we head into it. There was the Shattering, which we're going to talk about more in the next episode. But Radahn and Millennia, Blaidd of Mikola, another very easy boss. They had an epic battle here, and it was in a stalemate. And then she used the one power she never said she was going to, that she was trying to keep withheld, and she unleashed the Scarlet Rot on this land. One of the reasons that like the Scarlet Rot's everywhere is because of that, but then also to try and contain the Scarlet Rot in an area, they utilize fire. So the Redmanes and Radahn's army, they're like, that's why there's so many fire things around there. They're trying to keep pushing it back in the
That's
center.
what those walls are.
Those smoldering walls,
Yeah.
There's like a magic with like fire built into them.
Right
I was
outside
always
the
curious
smoldering
about that
church,
one.
like the way in on foot.
Yeah.
Which we are going to discuss Caelid that direction today. We're going to kind of just go in, I think, story-wise and difficulty-wise, it makes most sense to enter by the Smoldering Church and kind of follow the highway. It tells a little bit of a better story other than fuck you, you die, which you'll still get, but...
Getting absolutely thrashed by needles, trying to escape a mine.
Which I learned a little bit about that mine. There's a lot more to that mine than run out. I actually discovered through this research for this, I skipped maybe a quarter of Caelid because so much of it I was just running around. I'm like, oh, good, you're done. I got everything there. And it turns out I missed a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But there is an angel by the name of Anastasia, the Tarnished Eater in the Smoldering Church. She invades you. She's dressed as a finger maiden, and she's described as an ogress. She lures people in to talk about finger maiden stuff, about the greater will, and then when you're not paying attention, she kills you and eats you. That's what she's lore-wise up to.
Her battle type is actually very similar to a lot of invaders in the other Souls games.
She was directly compared when I was reading about her to, I want to say, a Mildred or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she is trying to kill you and eat you, but also she is trying to prevent you from going into Caelid. So I look at her as a little bit of an angel.
I guess so.
Yeah, but maybe also just kind of thematically sets up what's going to happen there.
Well, the fact that you keep coming back to life, I mean...
Well, and the irony being that she's somewhat preventing you from getting into Caelid, but also locks you from leaving Caelid.
Yeah.
There are 3 different ways to get into Caelid, but this is following the main road. This is the one, if you don't find some weird way gates or treasure chests, you'll wind up coming this way. She also appears in Mount Gelmir and the Consecrated Snowfield. She shows up 3 times, which I was surprised to find out.
I never found her on the mount.
Yeah, and if a regional boss is defeated before her, if you defeat Radahn before her, she won't spawn anymore. But if you keep going forward, you find yourself in the Shack of the Rotting. You'll find 5 preserving boluses there.
Fun.
And you're gonna just there's like an army of marching corpses trying to leave.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign. You go forward and you find some of your first big enemies. You find the big old crows and pups.
Oh,
Yeah. They can, even at the level I'm at right now, about 120, they can still house me anytime.
If you try
The crows especially. I'm lucky I have cult dragon magic
Yeah.
or cult incantations because like lightning is the only thing that really does any decent damage to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still actively avoid them. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
They're not even. They don't even give you that many.
right? It's not even worth the amount of time.
Runes.
They're fucking terrifying too.
Yeah.
The first time I saw the dinosaur dog, which is half decaying,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be here.
There's a few of them too,
Yeah,
all
there's
gathered around.
and there's dogs in various forms of decay, but the crows, they'll just sit up there, and the fact that they can still fly bothers me. But yeah, they jump back one step and they attack 5 steps forward. It's very
Well, and
frustrating.
they don't give you any invincibility frames. After certain attacks by certain enemies, you get a few frames of invincibility. They can just rail you against a wall, continuously dealing damage.
Oh yeah.
It's a strange choice.
Yeah, north of there's going to be one of the 2 Erd trees, the minor Erd trees up there. If you fight the Avatar, you'll get a boosting fire attack crack tier and a stamina recovery speed crack tier. Then there's some catacombs down there as well. Nothing too interesting down here, other than this is the first time there's a lift that goes up and you jump underneath the lift to continue on.
Yeah.
You do fight a Mad Pumpkin Head. Oh no, you fight Erd Tree Burial Watchdogs, which gives you the Mad Pumpkin Head ashes. And this is the first time they're going to mention gladiators in this area. The Mad Soldier here, the Mad Pumpkin Head, is all that is left of a broken gladiator. You'll find throughout this area many references to gladiators. It's my belief that just like east of where that is, that where the giant pot's hanging out, that used to be the Colosseum. In my mind, I just imagine Caelid being like this lush, beautiful area, gladiators up there before all of it went to shit.
Probably if it's where Radahn's from.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a great area for warriors to get together. And
There's a lot of like Roman influence to a lot of what they're doing there, which is really interesting, actually.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful location. Yeah, south of the caravan, you run into the Chalem ruins. And this might be one of your first times running into flame chariots. We've seen them before, but I hate these fuckers.
I didn't know how to kill them at first.
Yeah, they've got like the
They've got the dude in the back.
the weirdest. No, they've got the weirdest little glitch spot where you can catch them from one of the notes that you find in Liurnia of the Lakes.
Yeah.
They're weak to drop attacks, like
Drop
airstrikes.
attacks?
Plunge
Yeah,
attacks.
plunge attacks, like falling on top of them. And they've got the weirdest
I wouldn't
thing
have cared.
where you can double, if you catch them on a hill, you can double jump torrent on top, dismount, and do a plunging attack all in one move.
Which must feel very cool.
I just generally get the
It's
little
like an
pilot.
action movie, if you
Yeah.
can pull it off.
Well, it's the extremely rare you need to attack down on an enemy. You don't see that
Right.
often, but if you do, it like makes the thing explode and damage everyone around them.
Yeah, it virtually one-shots the whole chariot.
Yeah, and besides the flame chariots, there's
I don't fuck with them that much.
I avoided them actively. My first
still
time
do.
fighting them in the front of regular Lucaria, they were so mean and devastating. I'm like, well, I just will never fight them ever.
Well, I think the weirdest part of it, like about this game, which is still why I think Dark Souls, in my mind, kind of reigns supreme, is that in Dark Souls you can't run past a lot of enemies. Sometimes you really just have to face them and clear them out. I think that, for better or for worse, hiding some of what the game is or making it avoidable is weird game design.
It's an option. It's I
It's
don't know.
definitely an option, but I don't know. Like, is that a good thing?
I think at that point it's more preying on the perfectionist in the player. Is like, well, but
there's
maybe they're
no-
hiding good loot behind them.
maybe.
They do have areas though where you are required to
Maybe.
fight some things, but the fact that like open world map you have to do make it optional. Just the idea of like field bosses is still pretty new to the Souls franchise.
Yeah.
Bosses you can just encounter and then all right, never mind.
There are quite a few. Like, there's the Hydra in Dark Souls 1, just right off the top of my head. But yeah,
Or
thinking
the
about
timed
it.
bosses too, like the Night Watch or whatever, the big scary horse dudes.
The Knights Cavalry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are they technically timed just because of the daylight?
yeah.
I
Well,
guess-
they're
I mean-
timed. Each of them, there's like 3 or 4, and they each appear in specific regions at specific times.
Yeah.
There's more than 4.
Oh, geez, how many are there?
I mean, I want to think there's 9. There's 2 just in
Holy.
Caelid alone. Those are getting sent out by Margit, actually.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, Well, okay, there were 3 or 4 that I knew about before. Apparently, there's 5 more.
There's a lot of them, and a lot of bell-bearing hunters that I just wasn't aware of either. But in the Caelid ruins, there's also putrid corpses that just explode, which it's so far you've ran into giant demon dogs, crows, flame chariots, and exploding corpses.
The exploding corpses, though, are easy to kind of bait. And then walk away.
Well, and they
kill
trigger each other. Yeah.
But still, just the amount of mayhem that's happening just walking into this area.
Yeah.
If you go downstairs in the Caelid ruins, you'll find you have to fight 2 mad pumpkin heads. That's something I don't think is great about Caelid is there's a lot of dungeons where you just fight 2 or 3 of enemies you fought before. Which,
right.
But also in a tiny square room.
Yeah. Yeah.
The asset reuse is pretty strong in Caelid.
Yeah.
Even in the landscape itself. I think it has to be. It's barren. And how many of those like creepy, like fungus looking formations can you possibly make before you're just like copy paste?
It's just an Erd tree root with Scarlet Rot fungus on it.
I mean, even being honest, like the amount of times you go to a shack and it's a shack with the weirdest designed shacks I've ever seen in my life. What are those platforms for? What do they do? Do you put plants there?
Yeah, it's a plant shelf. That's what it was.
It's a plant shelf. And then like there's nowhere to sleep. It's like, okay, fine.
Very strangely paced stairs up to a windmill that hasn't worked.
Right?
Ever.
There was one guy that was hired to make every like sorcerer like rise, every one of those like little castles for sorcerers. It's like, I'm just going to do the same design I did last time. I don't think they know each other.
They're only going to keep a memory stone up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll probably just leave a stone and move out right away anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all they ever have. If you beat those pumpkin heads, though, you'll find a visage shield. Visage, I want to say, yeah.
Visage, yeah.
And it's probably the first one you're going to get that has like the giant's face on there. Mm-hmm. And it shoots flames out of it. It's pretty cool.
I want that thing just as like a troll shield for invasions.
Do you do a lot of like when you do invade other people or deal with that?
I'm a souls sadomasochist. Like I love invading and I love being invaded.
So have you played Souls 1 through 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro?
I've played everything but Sekiro.
Okay.
I've finished most of them.
Okay. Yeah. Bloodborne is my exclusive experience outside of Elden Ring, but Dylan is a huge Souls guy.
Yeah. Dark Souls 2 was probably my heyday of invasions and stuff because
yes.
I love Dark Souls 2. That came out when I was still working at Times Square. I remember it quite clearly. 3, take it or leave it. I don't know. At a certain point, I was just like, this is not the kind of competition I want to be in. I don't generally want to interact with people online when I'm playing video games. I'm kind of a single player guy. That being said, I'll get into something like Titanfall 2 or whatever and kind of fuck around with that. But for the most part, I've never done it in this game. I don't want to. By this point, everyone is going to be so much better than me. And I don't have the patience to get better at this. I really don't. There are other things to play.
That's fair. No, I'm like a PvP sadist. I play a lot of like Dead by Daylight. Like you're the giant scary murderer hunting down the people.
Yeah,
and
there's always a million crossovers, and I'm like, what the fuck's Dead by Daylight?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah.
It's always a question I have.
It's Halloween
fantastic.
And Stranger Things.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
but anyway,
video game podcasters and we don't even know.
Right.
But a lot of games.
I like playing Dark Souls and Elden Ring PvP the same way.
Yeah.
In 2, I was a total. If you get to New Game Plus and you go through these weird, like tiny, hard to find dungeons, you can find a moon butterfly set.
Yep.
And if you're wearing 3 of the 5 pieces, you exude a poison aura.
Okay.
Yep.
That slowly poisons anyone that's anywhere near you.
Yeah.
And so I would just trade parries and dodge around people until they got poisoned and then run away till they died.
I smelled like that when I worked at a pizza place in my 20s.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the garlic, yeah.
Well, and the lack of showers. Speaking of poison auras, though, this was the first place while researching the map that I definitely wasn't aware of. My first playthrough, the abandoned cave. It's east of those ruins. You have to jump off a cliff onto some like branches, and there's a cave hidden. Off to the side. And it is a bad place.
One of the most integral places.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say integral necessarily. It's the one of like all poison, all Scarlet Rot.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you say it's integral?
Only for the reward at the end.
Which reward are you talking about? The Golden Scarab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Golden Scarab Talisman, which permanently buffs all rune gain by what, 25%?
20%.
20%?
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
But-
it is the worst, most nightmarish mini dungeon you will ever play.
You jump down, and it's all.
I'm going without a guide. I've been doing it, and it's just the most frustrating thing for Brad to like take control and then just like see that you could just drop off to a place and that
there's a lot
an
of
item
it.
down here. I
But-
fucking hate it.
In this place, you jump down, and it's all poison. You're walking through poison, and then there's also just poison bubbles that shoot up at you. In here, you can find some cool items, though. You find the Venomous Fang, which is like handheld snake claw. Scales with strength and dexterity, and was weapons used by gladiators that were exiled, so fuckers were cheating. And poison used with this weapon causes double the damage per tick, but lasts a third of the time, so that's actually great. If you're using it to inflict poison and just keep going, it's going to start stacking on them.
Yeah, as long as you're actively fighting and not like me in Dark Souls 2 hit and run away.
Poison arrows from a mile away. You can also find the Serpent Bow in here, which adds a base of 15 poison buildup to every arrow used.
Oh, yeah.
Paired with Serpent arrows for faster poisoning. Yeah, these fuckers love their poison down here. And you'll fight a duo of Clean Rot Knights, because whatever, but you get the Golden Scarab. Yeah, this was the first place. I was like, I definitely didn't know this, because why would you look off to the side, jump over a few random branches? But there it is.
I will openly admit that's one of the few hidden things I actually found on my own.
Yeah.
And it's because I was just fleeing on torrent from a giant group of crows.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, that looks like a cave.
Shit.
Maybe I'll be safe in here for a while.
Right.
Not quite. Off to the left of there, west of that, you'll find the Gale Tunnel. In here, you can find like the Cross Naginata Spear and an Ash Warflame in the Red Mains. Pretty tough boss, though, early on with the Magma Worm.
Oh yeah.
And worms are, of course, people who succumbed to Dragon Communion. The reason I do like to come here early on, though, if you can defeat it, you get the Moonveil Katana, which is a very great katana for early in the game.
It's good throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you use the Moonveil a fair amount?
Yeah, early on my intelligence build.
Yeah.
Intelligence and dex, I mean, you can just absolutely annihilate. Clean house.
And a transient moonlight skill that it comes with gives you a nice ranged attack, which never underestimate how great it is to have a sword with a ranged attack.
Yeah, it's nice.
And you'll run into the Iron Fist Alexander right outside the door there, because he walked in there and the door is opened only one way. So he's out there saying, "How did you get in there?" And he's heading off to the festival, and he says, "Hey, you should come party." Yeah, Daft Punk's gonna play. There's gonna be Molly. It's gonna be sick.
Daft Punk.
I don't have any cool rave bands to mention.
I don't either.
String Cheese Incident's going to do an all-night show.
Oh, great. What's the guy's name? Marshmallow?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if you're making that up.
I don't think I am. I hope I didn't hallucinate that, because I remember seeing something about that. There's like an action figure of him I saw somewhere. I think he's actually got a marshmallow head.
Yeah, he's got one of those like giant fake heads, like Dead Mouse style.
I believe so.
I was about to say Daft Mouse.
I gotta look up marshmallow.
Yeah, we are not skilled on raves here in the lands between,
quite.
anyways.
No.
I think Iron Fist is one of the few that you can actually use for the festival without meeting him beforehand, right?
Yeah, actually, you can use most of them. Most of the NPCs are summonable. Oh, Marshmallow, very cool. He's mellow, not
They
mallow.
just call him a music producer.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't like play an instrument.
I couldn't get him to summon in at the festival, though.
You know what? Me neither.
Yeah, Marshmallow.
Probably a glitch.
Even Patches showed up.
For a second.
Yeah. South of the tunnel, you run into Fort Gale. This is the front gate's locked. You have to run around the back and go up a ladder. They have a Lion Guardian down there being kept in the basement. There's not a lot going on in this place other than you can find the Star Scourge heirloom, which raises strength by 5. And it talks about Radon, tells you a little bit about the mightiest hero of the demigods, confronted the falling stars alone, and thus did he crush them. Plus, there is a waygate to Redmane Castle. Takes you to the impassable Great Bridge just beyond it if you use this. Directly beneath it, though, is a pretty awesome place called the Jail Cave. This jail is you presumably used by the fort up above, but It's a prison maintained by vulgar militiamen. They have all the little like cells are all locked up and they're full of explodey boys, the putrid corpses in there. Do you guys remember this cave?
I've never been in it.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So all the doors are locked and you're just like, okay, well, I'm going to go through here and unlock them and then they'll get out. But you're going to have to at some point. But yeah, there's vulgar militiamen keeping it in there. Inside, you can find the Wakizashi dagger, which is one of Okina's 2 weapons. That'll be locked in there. And you fight a frenzied duelist. The coolest thing, though, is on the outside, it opens up into Limgrave from an area you can't drop down. There's the weapon, the Regalia of Aeacade, which when you just get a weapon description that teases an entire lore and backstory and group that you're not familiar with. This is the treasured sword of Aeacade, a lesser, long-vanished domain. The copper coloration is not to be confused for us, but it is a conduit for its wielder to move it by their will alone. You can essentially throw this sword forward and it does corkscrew attacks, and it keeps spinning after you throw it and keeps hurting people if they keep getting hit by it, and then it comes back to you.
Oh, I didn't know this existed.
Sure. So it's the Force lightsaber throw.
Yeah.
Every Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool sword. I've been paying a lot more attention to unique skills and weapons.
Honestly, yeah.
Because it's such a cool thing that the only way you can use certain skills are on like one weapon alone. And there's a surprising amount of those, which just opens up a lot of options for gameplay styles. And,
totally.
Yeah.
I've still got my the sword version of the Cypherpada,
that like code-looking sword.
That unblockable blade is an excellent, because I have like no strength and no dexterity, but I can still wield this thing because it's all faith.
Right.
Scaling.
Is that the one you get from the dude in the round table hold?
Yeah, you find it
hidden room.
No.
Do you find that in that round table hold in the capital?
The Cypherpada is are the fists.
Oh.
And I've got the sword version, the coated sword.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I got it.
I think so. The coated sword, if I'm not certain, but if I remember, it's in a hidden chamber to the side of the chamber where you jump down to fight the invader dude in the round table.
No, that's
hold.
where the Pada is.
That is?
Yep. Yeah.
I could have sworn I got the sword down there.
Maybe you get both of them. I thought I remember the sword being down there.
Where did I get the sword?
So the Cypherpada is located in the side room, same area. Mad Tongue Albrecht invades at the Round Table Hold. So that one is in the Round Table Hold. Maybe the one you were using is in the capital.
Yeah, the original physical form of the round table hold, which is probably why I'm getting it mixed up, honestly.
They do look the same.
Yeah, which is great.
Quite literally.
Just south of that jail, you'll find the Caelid Waypoint Ruins. You'll find a lot of servants of Rot there, which are going to be mushroom guys, rotten puppies, and then the lesser kindred of Rot, which these pests are like the insects that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah, the giant shrimps.
The giant shrimps, which can shoot 50 projectiles out of their back. Constantly.
I still don't understand how that's fair, and there's no way, there's no fucking way to avoid it.
Instantly.
It doesn't make any sense because there's really no actual viable strategy to fight these things half the time.
There's exactly one chance to dodge roll through them.
Yeah, because they will all hit at the same time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to get hit by all of them.
Yeah, no, you get there's exactly like one. It's an absurdly small window of iframes, but you have to dodge towards them, and you can just barely miss all of them.
I'm just busy throwing lightning at them.
Yeah. These insect-like pests were born from the Scarlet Rot. They worship the rot itself and millennia. They come from like the event of millennia unleashing the Scarlet Bloom. If you go into the basement here, there's like a little kind of graveyard cemetery area, and you'll find a lot of little baby versions of the pests roaming around here.
Yeah. I like those. They're
crawling
kind of
out
cute.
of the graves. Yeah, they're kind of cute, Dylan.
They're kind of cute. I like them.
They don't offer too much of like a problem for you. They do start shooting stuff, but to me, this just kind of makes me think that, they're reanimating dead corpses, and like it's the rot maybe fusing with insects, controlling these bodies is kind of where they come from.
Or they're just like mutating parasites, like xenomorph type.
Yeah. I like them even less now that you say it like that. Yeah. These are bad guys. You'll find the meteoric ore blade in there, though. A katana forged from meteoric ore to dispatch life forms born of falling stars. This is another thing that is always in the background of Caelid is Radahn holding the stars at bay. Why is he doing it? Why do we find, like a meteoric ore blade? Mm-hmm. Why do we find a falling star beast later on in this area?
Right.
He is preventing the stars from coming down here for some reason.
Well, they're
only specific stars, though.
Yeah, he freeze all of the stars in the sky to prevent destiny from manifesting?
Well, we don't necessarily know why he's holding the stars in place. We know why he learned gravity magic.
Well, it's tied
for
to
Leonard.
It's tied
for
to
Leonard.
Rani.
Well, I don't think he's doing it to stop Rani necessarily. My thing is, you find a falling star beast later on in the Celia crystal tunnel, and it's like a puppy version. It's a tiny version of it.
Right.
You'll find bigger ones later, and then a much bigger one with Estelle, the natural born.
Yeah.
And these things were coming down.
That thing's a falling star beast? Oh, they do look like it.
It's theorized, but there's a lot of consistent design between them with like the pincers and the way they evolve.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't put 2 and 2 together with that.
So these things are falling like meteors from the sky.
Oh.
A meteor is what destroyed another civilization, which I don't know if either of you're there. You haven't gotten there yet. But these falling star beasts are coming down, and I think Radahn's trying to protect Celia. Celia was drawing these things in for some reason.
Magic.
Yeah, because I mean, if we this is one of those wormholes, or like you can just keep going. But there's the ancient civilizations of like Noxtella and Nokron. They dealt with a lot of star magic. Even the one who taught Radahn gravity magic was an alabaster lord who came from a meteorite, was born from a meteorite. So something to do with preventing, I think, the stars from destroying Celia or maybe his land. But I think that put him in direct conflict with other people like Rani and Rani, his big sister. And I think Millennia is there because of the stars as well. Because otherwise, I can't imagine any reason why she would go from the Holog Tree way north all the way south strictly to fight Radahn. I think the only advantage, why would you go for the most difficult demigod sibling when you fight Godric, this little bitch boy, and you spank him and you let him keep his great rune? Like, I don't think she was going for Radahn's great rune necessarily. I think she was going to get the stars moving, possibly to help Mikola. But we could talk about that stuff if we keep going. There's a lot going on, but
my conspiracy theory around it is more about the original theft of the Rune of Death.
Yeah.
The whole preventing the destined death. Mm-hmm. And then Radahn following in his mother-father's footsteps and trying to also prevent destiny of the stars.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's kind of like a recurring theme of them trying to prevent global or celestial destiny.
And outer gods are trying to enter, and that could be keeping all of them at bay.
Right. They've got barely a foothold. They managed to get rid of the god of Rot a million, however many years ago.
Yeah. Lot of cool lore going on in Caelid. There's a lot. I really do love it all. Around the Caelid Highway, there's lots of stuff. There's a useless wandering merchant. There's a troll disguised as a wandering noble that'll drop a larval tear for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Biggest thing of note as we head south is running into decaying Enzykes, however you want to say it. The Scarlet Rot dragon.
Oh, yeah.
The upgraded Rot Breath.
I definitely killed him. I use faith, so...
you love the Rotten Breath.
Dude, I use it well.
I
didn't know it was
Rot
OP
Breath?
until
Bro.
I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready for it.
The base level Rot Breath is huge for like defensive PvP. If you're getting invaded.
I used it to kill the fire giant.
Also, yes.
That was my best way of killing the fire giant. Because I
You
had...
just run up and breathe on people.
Well, so far my build that's worked out great for me is a high endurance, high vitality, high faith. And that's it, pretty much. Nothing else is high on this character at all.
Sure.
And so I would just be like this armored beast who just literally spews Scarlet Rot onto people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can survive like physical hits like nobody's problem.
So just the patron of Enzykes.
Yeah, I'm like an opposite paladin, something like that.
Yeah, you get the best rotten breath from killing Enzykes.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you're able to buy it. He is known as the Dragon Communion Revenger. He has pretty much lost his mind due to the Scarlet Rot, but it hasn't forgotten how much it hates people that use Dragon Communion. So that's why he's guarding the cathedral right behind him. He's like, fuck anyone who's trying to get to there.
Oh, I murderized them.
Yeah. And if it's nighttime, you'll also run into a Knight's Cavalry here.
That one fucked me up the first time I was there.
He's got a mace. I went and fucked with him earlier today. There is a nomadic merchant as well. He'll sell you some cool stuff, but if you head a little further east...
Unless he's got stone sword keys, I don't bother.
Yeah. Most merchants are fairly useless.
Yeah.
There are some that sell you some cool
sets.
cookbooks and stuff.
The one by the Caelid Waypoint gives you the Aeonia butterflies, which are otherwise a very limited resource.
There you go.
Yeah.
See,
If you're trying to craft Scarlet Rot projectiles.
Am I? Yes. I love Scarlet Rot.
in case you want to cheese the crap out of Radon.
I didn't use Scarlet Rot on Radon.
Which
What?
I found out today is a mistake because he is extremely susceptible to it.
He takes
I've heard
almost double damage from like Scarlet Rot ticks.
I fought him the traditional way by sending all my friends to kill him.
I was talking with Miles earlier. Well, we'll talk about Radon next time. But if you head a little further east and it's still nighttime, there's a Deathrite bird. He'll give you a Death's Poker. If you beat him, a great sword, which has a unique skill, which is Ghost Flame Ignition. You thrust out your barbed rod and set it alight with Ghost Flame, and then it's like a...
Tell me about it.
Yeah. And it's like a little projectile attack. But there's also a Windy Crystal Tear just sitting out in the open, guarded by a crow. That's one of the only times you'll see a tear
Just kind of chilling.
just kind of hanging out there, which is kind of cool. It makes dodge rolls more effective, but also increases damage received, which... That's kind of cool, adding like 6 iframes to your dodges.
Yeah.
Which is not bad.
I mean, an expanded iframe is huge, so who cares about extra damage if you never take damage?
There you go. I was, Dylan came over one time. He's like, why are you heavy rolling? And I'm like, what does that mean?
Oh, no.
I'm like, ooh.
It's a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very bad thing.
It's a very bad
It's
thing.
the second worst thing.
Yes,
I've refused to go anywhere from medium roll on now. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone does, for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
There are people that don't care. The people that go like full endurance and get the double great shields.
Yeah. And they just slam.
The Iron Fist armor and
Yeah.
just tank the hell out of everything.
Yeah.
I've seen those builds. They're hilarious.
They're
Viable? I don't know.
Viable enough. I don't know. I kind of want to do a build where I'm just a fist guy.
Just absurdly high poise and just never get knocked down.
Yeah. And then I just punch.
You said you were working on a Wolverine build.
Oh, I am. It's as cheesy as I can possibly go.
Yeah.
I went pure dex with 2 claws.
Oh, the ones you get in the castle, right?
With the beast claws and then
the
the
beast
hook
claws are pretty
and then
good,
the hook claws.
Oh, yeah.
The hook claws buff your jump attacks.
Oh, nice.
So one's enchanted with bleed, one's enchanted with frostbite.
Oh, okay.
One of the worst abuses of game mechanics I've ever seen in my life is that frostbite also increases bleed damage, because frostbite increases all damage received by a flat percentage. So if you hit them,
That's why that hatchet is pretty good.
if you inflict them
Yeah.
with frostbite first, then once you proc the bleed, they take a higher percentage of their own health
It's true.
as damage.
Yeah.
So messed up. And the entire character build.
Yeah.
Goddamn Wolverine.
Shit. If he had frost
Completely
magic.
cruel. Seriously. So cruel.
I've barely fucked around with any fist items at all, but there are some really cool ones.
I really like the mouth that Godric gets.
Oh, yeah.
I love that
the
one.
Dragon Flame
The
one.
Dragon Flame one. It's
Yeah.
fun to use.
But that's not a fist weapon, is it?
Oh, yeah. It's classified as a fist weapon, yeah.
Ugh.
It's only one fist though.
You can't dual wield it and have 2 dragon hands.
I don't
be
I don't
cool.
think you can power stance that one.
I don't think you can power stance it at all either. I think it just literally just spews.
Yeah.
No, the Cypherpodas for a while I was using those.
I want to
That's
check.
fun.
I want to try those little snake fangs.
You should try them out.
Yeah.
Snake fangs are nice. Those ones I think you can power stance.
Yep. And then just stack the poison. Yeah. South
I mean,
of
Scarlet Rot is just better poison.
Kind
in
of,
this
but
game.
it doesn't last as long.
It doesn't last as long, but it's more deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you use those fangs, you'll get double poison damage.
Very
Sure.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, ¿por qué no los dos? It's the only reason I don't like power stancing fist weapons, because if you have 2 equipped, 1 in each hand, instead of power stancing 1, you can mix and match elemental debuffs. And I always use frostbite on one of them, because no matter what other debuff you're inflicting, frostbite's going to make it stronger.
It's true.
It's going to make you take more damage. It increases the
I should
damage
think
of
about that.
Scarlet Rot, poison, bleed, all of it.
I'm too busy with the best. I've got the Erd Tree Seal. Kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask you on here, Miles, because I know you're a very technical person. The way you're describing how you were setting up characters for Hades, I'm like, I didn't think about that. That's beyond my pay.
You've always been like that. I remember you being obsessed with Diablo 3.
Oh, dude.
You were so into
Back
that.
then, yeah, I was, oh my God.
Yes, you were.
Unbelievably obsessed. But I just pick and choose my obsessions. Or, they pick and choose me. Who cares?
That's all you got.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dylan picks a lot of my obsessions for me.
Yeah. I'm known as the sommelier.
I have half a leg of Bloodborne tattoos because of him.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's true. If you go around southwest from the Cathedral of Dragon Queen, so you head east and you head south by a million murder crows and dogs, you'll wind up in the Caelid Catacombs, which is another place I completely missed.
I might have been here. What's in it?
Nothing of note, really. You fight a cemetery shade. There's a couple hidden walls, but otherwise it's a fairly boring Scarlet Rotty.
Do you get
catacombs.
What's the reward for it?
Kindred of Rot Ashes.
I have that. Yeah.
Sometimes little cave catacombs is useless. This one I found to be probably I'd give it the most useless area.
Once you get the Mimic tier, why the fuck would you do anything else?
Well, there are other good ashes for different scenarios, but this isn't one of them.
My Mimic tier, because it mimics you.
Would you date it if you
Yes,
could?
I would. I would fuck my own Mimic tier. Because so like the only way I defeated the Frost Giant or the Fire Giant was I was like, okay, they have all the spells I have, and they're dumb about using them. So I'm only gonna have 2 spells.
Yeah.
One is heal, so he can survive, and the other one is Scarlet Rot, breath. That's not bad. And we both just went in on him, and that motherfucker tore off his own goddamn leg, and he was bashing it around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I got him real quick though. His second phase, I was just like, I don't even have to touch you. You can barely move. Love it.
Things that might upset you. Did you know that you can summon an NPC into the Fire Giant?
No, I didn't know that.
Iron Fist Alexander will join you for that fight.
Jesus Christ.
Although I don't know if he's the most useful. He just kind of blindly charges forward and just does physical attacks, but I mean, it's good for aggro.
He's a tanky semi-distraction.
He's literally just like this big jar warrior.
Well, when you've got your Mimic tier plus 10 already fucking shit up.
Yeah. Well, you can have them both though.
I'm not gonna lie. I've used the Mimic tier probably the least.
You should use it more.
I know, but
It's what I use the most.
One of my greatest crutches in games like this is emotional attachment.
Okay.
And what do you like, the wolves?
And no, not the wolves. I got a strong emotional attachment to Aurelia, the jellyfish.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The spirit jellyfish?
Do you lose that spirit jellyfish after you take it to its house or to its home?
I'm not sure.
You haven't gotten to its home
I've
yet.
avoided that.
Well, you haven't gotten there yet, I don't
Context.
think.
I've been to the talking jellyfish, and no one ever gives me I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get
We're talking
it.
about the jellyfish you get from right outside of...
Yeah, right outside of Stormvale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And in the notes, it tells you that her name is Aurelia.
Yep. And then you also kind of learn through that.
Yeah, but I went to the mountaintop of the giants, the ruins where there's another jellyfish hanging out.
Yeah, there's
is that the one where you get rid of it?
Summon the jellyfish there. I don't know if you get rid of it, but you also find out from a gravestone there, slight spoiler warning, that it says there's 2 names on a gravestone. So the jellyfish could be the spirits of children who have been killed or died.
I'm going to tell you this right now. If I get there and find out you have to summon Aurelia so she can go home, I'm okay with that emotional conclusion. I will never summon her again just for that catharsis.
Well, and that's one where you know the name of the spirit, which makes a difference instead of...
Oh, yeah.
You like the jelly... What does the jellyfish do? I've never summoned
Emotional
it.
support.
Emotional support, but she's also obscenely tanky. Level
Really?
1, I think, has like 2,800 health.
What's its attack pattern?
It's a distraction, and it shoots poison rays. So it'll stack poison proc while you're doing other stuff.
That's actually pretty good.
And she's ridiculously tanky, even from level 1. I beat Margit, first character, third try with Aurelia.
Oh, yeah.
Second character.
Ranged or?
No, melee.
Oh, okay. That makes a difference.
Second character, first try.
Yeah.
Still with Aurelia.
Yeah. Shit.
Absurd. That poison is huge.
Never underestimate a jellyfish.
Never.
As we move north from there, northeast, we're going to find ourselves coming to the Celia Gateway. And this is something I didn't notice or pay attention to, because when I first came in here, it was from a treasure chest. So I didn't think about the gateway and like this being the portal into the Swamp of Aeonia and the Town of Sorcery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a giant that throws magical catapult bombs at you.
This troll, this motherfucker.
That fucking
As
guy.
you come towards the Celia Gateway, I don't know if the troll is employed by the Celians, possibly, because he's just got a never-ending pile of...
Employed like he's making a wage.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I would assume magically enslaved, right?
it's a
Yeah,
few
it's
dollars.
gotta be, right?
He doesn't have chains, whereas a lot of them do.
That guy never.
fair.
That guy never
It's not like
attacked me.
Godric didn't even pay minimum wage. We know Godric
Yeah.
was like a bad employer.
But he chained them because he didn't have Celia's level of magic.
Yeah, maybe it's just like,
Maybe
you
they're
will fight
invisible.
for us, just doing a little Jedi mind trick on him.
I mean, they do have a particular proclivity for invisibility.
These specific sorcerers definitely do.
I fucking hate Celia. I fucking
It's so bad.
hate it. And it's not as if stuff like this hasn't existed in other Souls games. There are places there are swamps in the first one that literally just kill you, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it. And it's fine.
And it's fine. It's fine.
Then there are places like this where you're just like, listen, I'm about to kill you with this lightning, but you disappeared. So I guess I can't hit you anymore. So you have to equip melee weapons and just kind of swing around a little. It's the worst.
Yeah.
And also they use the giant carrying greatswords.
Oh, yeah.
Which absolutely have your health in one slash. And if they get a combo in with that, no, you're done.
Well, these Celians, they just hang out invisible all day, which is that awkward? Is everyone just like jerking off because no one can see each other?
But they're also-
is like Ted running around naked again, but no one knows.
But they're also not
if-
physical beings themselves.
If I
They're like ghosts.
if I was
almost.
invisible, I would just wear my big stone head and run around naked all day.
I love the big stone heads.
Yeah.
I do
Pretty
love
hilarious.
those.
yeah,
You know the what's the sorceress you meet, Solana or something?
Selen.
I did not realize that was not her actual head for far longer than I care to admit.
You can see her portrait in Rey Lucaria.
Right.
Actually,
My girlfriend was literally like, "Oh, she looks hideous."
Right.
I'm
I
like, "That's
legitimately
a-"
thought
I'm
she
"That's
was
a
like
mask."
a big like stone golem character. I was like, oh yeah, she's not human. She's
Yeah.
got a big rock head.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see also there's videos that take the helmets off, and she actually is
yeah.
quite striking. A beautiful, crazy person, as I've known a few in the past. The Celians
Don't
are
talk that way about Carly. Come on.
not Carly; she's an angel, and yeah. Not like a tarnished eating angel either. The Celians are descendants of inhabitants of the Eternal Cities. They are descendants of Nokron and Noxtella. They specialize in stealthy sorceries.
That kind of makes sense based on the map.
All right.
It's kind of right above it, above ground.
It's above one of them. It's directly above Mogwin's little blood palace.
Oh, really?
Down there. Yeah.
Well, at least the eastern edge, right?
Yes. I'd have to pull it up right now. It's above that, and then like the main river well, the Shifra, however you want to say it.
Shifra?
I call it Swafria.
I think it's kind of like Saoirse Ronan's language, whatever that is.
I mean, they went with a lot of like Welsh
Irish?
stuff.
No, something.
They went very Welsh with Blaidd.
Welsh.
So it could be very Shofra.
Yeah, it's one of those. Like,
I
until
listened-
someone says it out loud, I wouldn't know how to say it.
I listened to a podcast called Let's Fight a Boss, and that's like the only, besides Video Game Apocalypse, those are the only two, if you really want to know what Dylan listens to, these are the only two other video game podcasts I can physically listen to without going insane because I'm forced to think about video games all the time anyway.
Yeah,
But there's a girl on there, her name is Neve, but it's spelled Niamgh, I believe.
yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
it's Neve.
gotta be Welsh.
It's not. It's Irish.
Oh no.
That whole area of the world, like we're just gonna fuck with people.
Yeah, they got some weird shit.
Yeah, it looks like Blaidd, right?
No, it's not GH. It's just
Imagine
H.
if Wesley Snipes was Blaidd instead of Blaidd.
The MH is a
I would have
G.
liked that movie better.
Maybe, yeah. And he was
The
a wolf.
MH is a V. Neve.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It was here at Celia that Radon studied gravity magic in his youth. And you know how Citizen Kane, it's all about Rosebud?
Oh, yeah.
I think all of Radon, his coded word, his one word that describes everything is Leonard. Almost everything about how Radon chose what he did all comes back to Leonard. The reason he went to Celia to study gravity magic was because he got too big for his horse, and he had to learn gravity magic to make it so his horse could hold him up.
I just think it's funny that he uses the same horses that the merchants ride around on. Like the ugly, like gross-looking horses.
But
I mean, his horse was semi-infected with Scarlet Rot.
and it's
to some
about
extent.
it's about emotional support too. Like he can't go fight without Leonard. It's like you and your jellyfish.
It's kind of the most adorable story ever, right? Like this is the equivalent of a man learning like advanced jujitsu to protect his house cat in case of home invasion.
or it's like if your wife goes deaf and you learn how to do like sign language or something for someone who like can't hear anymore.
That's a specific. This dude is literally just for his pet,
and it's not
that's
even
like
that.
a whole other level of emotional investment.
You could also just have Leonard be your homie without riding him too.
Exactly.
Get a big horse.
This was specifically to keep his pet
Go to
or
market-
steed useful.
Go to Market Stable. Those Knights Cavalry have some big fucking horses.
Which makes me wonder how
big
tall
fucking
he
horses.
was beforehand, before he needed the magic.
And also, when Miyazaki is just sitting there designing Radon, and they're like, the horse looks small. He's like, yeah, make Radon bigger. How about you go bigger with him?
But also make the model float a quarter inch above the horse.
Yeah, Leonard. He might be infected with Scarlet Rot, but I think less so than Radon. At this point, Leonard's just probably watching his homie eat people. He's like, this is fine.
Well, I
I
assumed
don't think
Leonard.
horses think that hard about it.
I assumed Leonard would be infected to the same extent that the Clean Rot Knights were, just by
Yeah, being
proximity.
around. But you also say maybe Leonard's just a horse, but the Turtle Pope's not just a turtle. Maybe Leonard is voiced by Liam Neeson or something. Like we just don't know, dude.
Or Troy Baker.
Troy Baker
The more
shows
likely
up.
choice.
Yeah.
He plays the guitar.
No, big twist. Leonard is voiced by Ewan McGregor in the next DLC.
Yep.
And he has the low ground by choice.
You have no chance. But yeah, so Radon actually traveled to Celia specifically to study gravity sorcery. And an attack came from the stars against the city, and Radon defended it. So we do know that something from the stars attacked Celia, and Radon chose to defend it, and he halted the movement of the stars themselves. The first thing, though, you'll encounter passing through the gateway is Gowry's shack.
Yeah, Gowry's funny.
Well, what's your thoughts on Gowry, Dylan?
I like Gowry. He's just a funny little man in a monk robe sitting around. And then he's like, retrieve a needle for me. You got to help this bitch up top. She really needs the needle. And I'm like, well, it's a video game quest. And so I'm like, where do I get the needle? He's like, it's somewhere. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll keep exploring.
So my first time running into Gowry, I was getting it like the dog out front. I aggroed him and I just ran away, and I thought I had unaggroed him, and I was talking with him, and then I tried to attack the dog, and I accidentally hit Gowry.
Oh, no.
And he turned into a pest and disappeared.
What?
Oh, yeah.
And
Is the needle bad for the girl in the church?
so, well, the entire time,
There's ambiguity there.
the entire time I was then playing the rest of the game, I thought that he was a pest that was trying to have its own motives for the pest people. And it's not. He is a sage. He is a human sage. And he is elsewhere just like remote controlling a pest to do his job for him. So that's why you can come back. There'll be another thing there. That's another pest Gowry. And he's like, all right, I'll just send another one of these fuckers. They're everywhere.
You want to hear some really dumb shit?
Yeah.
The first time I ran into Gowry in Gowry Shack, I did the same thing you did. I accidentally aggroed the dog. I ran away, thought I de-aggroed,
Yep.
went in to talk to Gowry. The dog used its giant sweeping bite attack, clipped through the back wall of the shack, and insta-killed Gowry's pest.
Like, hopefully that wasn't a big important quest.
Right. I really hope that guy wasn't like lore
Jesus Christ.
centered.
Gowry, he describes that he asked for a favor. He's been looking for it tarnished, as every NPC is. He says he will teach you the secrets of Celia if you can go into the swamp and find a needle, an unalloyed golden needle, hidden somewhere in the swamp, Vaonia, and then he promises to tell you the secret. So you're like, all right, I guess.
What's the secret, though? Like,
It's
figure it out.
an incredibly useless secret.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Something I had already figured out before I got it. I was like,
Thing you can fucking do on your own.
it's like, just jump into the roofs and go to those very obvious little towers I'm supposed to go to. Thanks for the tip there, bud.
Video game 101 type shit.
Oh, Gowry.
You want to hear some funny crap?
Yeah.
Is I completely skipped most of Celia because I had no interest in like the
Disappearing
magic
enemies.
stuff. Like I was at the time building a strength character.
Yeah.
I had no interest in anything magic centric. I was like, whatever, I'll come back later and like clean house when I feel like it. But my friend was building a mage character and they were like, well, I need the staff you get for killing this boss. I was like, you know what, fine. We'll go run through it. So they summoned me.
It is a good staff.
Right. So they summoned me as a shade. We went through and cleared the town, and they could not, for the life of them, figure out what the puzzle was. And they're just
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, there's literally 3 giant bell tower looking things, and there's 3 seals on the giant magic seal. Could you not possibly put this logic puzzle together?
We'll never figure this out. We will literally never get this.
Oh, and during the time it took to climb up all the weird little rot routes to get to those 3 towers, we got invaded 5 times.
Yeah, so you
Christ.
you sadistic people playing your PvP.
I'll never do it.
Well, it never explicitly tells you, but your chances of getting invaded go astronomically higher when you have a co-op partner.
Yeah.
And the game never actually lets you know that, like, hey, summoning a friend makes you so much more susceptible to assholes.
Yeah.
I'm susceptible enough already. And in 1 year, when we do the multiplayer episode before we wrap up Elden Dogs, we will make sure to have you back for that one.
Oh, I'll be here for that.
But
You're
since
the only one who's going to be able to do it.
well, I'm going to dive in before then. But since there's no possible way we can solve this Celian mystery, we're going to go into the Swamp of Aeonia to try and find this this needle. The Swamp of Aeonia is coded as its own separate area. The sites of grace are listed under us, not in Caelid. It's under Swamp of Aeonia, and then Grail's Dragon Barrow is also a separate area. This is the swamp is ground zero for the fight between Radon and Millennia. Here she unleashed the Scarlet Rot against Radon. There is one giant towering like bloom tree mushroom thing that is exactly the first bloom, just keeps growing up. In the center of the swamp, you can get invaded by Millicent, which didn't happen to me my first game.
Me neither.
I got invaded by Millicent, yeah.
Yeah, she'll full on attack you. I think she has both arms at this point when she's invading you.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So it's either before or a future version coming back. We don't code these things. We might not have lore behind them, but there she is.
Time means nothing.
Also, though, you can run into the boss, Commander O'Neill, which I just love when they just
Just
have...
Commander Neil.
It's O'Neill.
Oh, it's O'Neill. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Which, by the way, was my 3rd choice for a character for today.
Oh, yeah?
Commander O'Neill.
That would have been cool, too.
It's not bad. I like facing his physical form.
Solely because of the Caelid connection, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and Commander O'Neill's pretty cool. After his lord was fled, Commander O'Neill continued to brandish his flag in the devastation of the rot-eaten field of battle. The sole veteran who remembers the battle with pride. Commander O'Neill was an ultimate homie and stayed there and kept fighting afterwards.
He keeps summoning shit to kill you from afar.
Well, he does a lot of summoning. This is one of those, do you go blindly rush in and try and take them down before they can summon too much and you get like surrounded, or do you
No, you kill
summon a few
bats.
jellyfish and run around, you know?
Can I tell you something awful about Commander O'Neill?
Yeah.
He's one of the easiest to cheese bosses in the game.
He is.
Is there a safe
If you
area?
have poison or
done it.
rot arrows, or if you're really, really patient, normal arrows, there's a single rotted root you can climb up that puts you outside of his aggro field. And you can just sit up there and shoot him in the head all
Oh,
day
I've
long.
never done that, no.
I don't think I've cheesed a boss yet.
you
There's a
can
million times I
literally-
would have if I could have, but I didn't know about it the first round. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a game-breaking, lazy asshole.
Yeah.
So I definitely look for all the easiest ways to kill bosses
in the
without
game,
them
use
being
it.
able to touch you.
In Bloodborne, before you can go down to that special like college area through that, you go through the town and there's those 3 dudes that are guarding a spot.
Oh, yeah.
There's a way to climb in there, not through the main door, so they don't activate, and you can just fight them without them attacking you. And I was almost ready to just try and do that for a while. I did eventually get them, but so yeah, when you defeat the Commander O'Neill, you get the unalloyed gold needle. Now, this item was broken by Millennia when she was fighting Radon. This gold needle is important. It's an implement crafted to ward away the meddling of outer gods. It is thought capable of forestalling the incurable rotting sickness. So this item she might have been using to prevent the Scarlet Rot from taking over her body. And this is an item that you can use endgame potentially to undo a big decision that happens later on. You have to do this entire quest and then also make a few specific decisions, but the gold needle is kind of an important thing. Take it back to Gowry to be repaired, and then you get the regular gold needle. He says, take it up to Millicent, and then you receive a note that says, you see those 3 obvious fucking bell towers? Yeah. Just do that.
Video games are hard for people. You know, I keep coming into this, and it's really funny. Like, even I'm playing with my girl, and she's just like, "Oh, I'll just go here and do this." I'm like, "No, it's clear you're supposed to be over here doing this." And she's like, even games I've never played before, and I'll just be like, "No, it's like over there." And she's like, "How do you know that?" And I'm just like, "Video games? I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's over there." Like, you can tell. Look at how important it looks.
And that's why I also like, that's the right way. I'm going to go to the other rooms first because those are going to have quick dead ends that have items probably.
Oh. Maybe. Yeah.
Or
yeah.
random lore
RPGs.
items.
Although Elden Ring, though, is very good at, I'm not sure the right way, and I wind up missing stuff because of it, which is also a good feeling, I think.
Elden Ring's very good at there isn't a right way.
Yeah.
Every way has something.
What do they call that? They call that, like that indecision. What do they call it? Analysis paralysis?
Oh,
Or is that like when the dog's between 2 bowls of food and it just sits there to die rather than choose a bowl?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like, where do I go first? I don't know. I mean, in Elden Ring, you just kind of have to be like, I guess I'm just exploring.
Yeah.
you just do a thing
Right.
and then do more things.
Just do it
as
and
you
then do
find
more.
things down
Yeah.
that thing.
Yep.
And that's unfortunately how I wound up spending some of my first 5 hours of the game in Caelid. I just wound up there. I'm like, fuck it. And
Let's see how it goes.
and I will not attack anything. I learned quickly and I will run away. And then I'm just climbing a divine tower. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
If you go west here in the swamp, you'll find the Street of Sages Ruin. You can find the Traveler set there. You can find the Rock Sling spell. And then you can also find the Meteorite staff. Pretty good early game staff. Unfortunately, it can't be upgraded,
Yeah.
which is a weird thing, but S scaling with intelligence, so it is powerful and good with gravity magic, but yeah.
If you like throwing rocks at people.
Which is what I wound up doing with my mage character, Carly.
Not bad for early game bosses, honestly.
No, and the rock magic is generally pretty good. Yeah, compared to the other things you can get early game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we didn't mention this, but also if we didn't mention this anywhere before in the podcast, if you're going through, waste level high poison or Scarlet Rot, always hop on Torrent because you will not get hurt. You will not get infected then. Whereas if you're just walking through there, you will. And also when I was in the abandoned cave, you get poisoned and Scarlet Rot affected so fast. Take your armor off.
Oh, yeah. If you have the soap.
I did. Yeah, fuck the soap.
The soap.
Explain the soap to us. Miles.
The soap is a random item you can get. I think the first time you find it is in Shofar River.
Yeah.
And you can get the actual crafting recipe for it. And it literally just scrubs the... It describes it in game just as like cleaning off layers of filth. But that's literally what it does. It can remove some buildup and prevents the extraneous buildup from sticking to you. Which, again, random one-off thing if you're wading through poison or Scarlet Rot. Don't ever dodge roll.
And if you do, remove all your armor when you get to a safe area.
Yeah.
And then you can put it back on, but you have to take it off and like exit the menu.
Yeah.
And then you can put that armor back on and it won't be coated anymore.
Right.
Yes.
But if you
otherwise,
dodge roll, it does coat your entire item set.
And so you're
as
gonna
well as your skin.
You'll still be in there even when you're not in there.
Oh yeah, it'll keep building up.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
And just
soap.
We also recommend using soap outside of Elden Ring.
Just like in general.
Yeah. It will get rid of the rot.
I bought some soap from the Ren Fair, but it was specifically called Scarlet Rot. Should I be worried?
That feels like a bait and switch.
When I went to the Ren Fair last year, they handed me some soap, a little sample of soap, and they're like, and it's totally edible. I'm like, do you want me to eat it? They're like, it's edible. And I ate it, and the guy's like, he's a soap eater. And I got a sticker that says, I am a soap eater. He gave me a sticker because I ate the edible soap.
Fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they
but
definitely planned that, right?
They definitely planned it, but they didn't say eat the soap. They just say it's edible too. And they just wanted to see people that would actually eat the soap. And I felt like I
just
unlocked.
fucking cyanide. You're dead.
Yeah. He's a dead man. Great sticker.
Condolences
To Carly.
to Carly.
Or congratulations.
Or congratulations, whatever you want to say.
This guy ate soap from a stranger. Can I eat it?
You definitely either lost a Carney game or won like a Dark Souls level side quest.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to eat this random consumable in this one spot.
I wake up in a shack somewhere.
That's worse.
Yes, but then most people, when they are playing this game, they do arrive, like we said, in the Celia Crystal Tunnel. I have never entered this way through the front door for the first time. Like, I always just wind up taking the treasure chest into there. But
I always, the second time, I'm like, I'm not falling for this again. It's not happening.
You want to hear a weird random side thing?
Sure.
You can dodge roll out of the transporter traps.
Oh, I always do.
If you hit them the exact second the chest opens.
No, you can actually just literally walk away, too. I've done it before where I'm like, bye.
Most people are so confused by the smoke coming out, they just don't move.
They just look at it. They're like, interesting.
pretty smoke. I was so blown away to find out that there is a boss in the Celia Crystal Tunnel.
Yeah, there is.
I didn't know that. I always...
Off of the elevator.
Yeah. It's a very meandering dungeon.
Well, there's no
of it.
elevator in there.
It's not an elevator. You got to jump. You got to climb up, jump across,
okay.
jump down, climb around, climb a ladder, jump across, drop a ladder, climb up.
I think that's my biggest problem with Elden Ring is maybe that there's a lot of repetition to how these little mini dungeons work. They remind me of shrines from Breath of the Wild quite a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what's one compared to the other? I know I beat the boss there, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you jump off the elevator. No, there's no elevator.
Well, yeah, so my experience was I always was running out of this fucking place because fuck this place. And I never thought just beat the enemies, and then I found out you jump onto this little shack roof and you jump off to somewhere else. You can get a few cool items in here. You can get the Rock Blaster spell, a lot of pests. You can get the Faithful's Canvas Talisman, which raises the potency of all incantations, which is cool.
I have that.
Oh, yeah.
But this is also where you find the boss, the Falling Star Beast. One of 3 you can find in the game.
Baby one. Isn't
This is the littlest, cutest one. And this would make really...
I just fought in the one by the crater.
There's one in the Mount Galmir
Yeah.
crater, and there's one outside of the capital as well.
The
The
full-grown
capital crater.
falling star beast is like on top of the volcano.
I hate that one.
That one's
so bad.
huge.
It's so bad.
It's massive.
Yeah, but the natural born's even bigger. And I also was reading that a lot of people think that in the Ainsel River well, the cocoon thing that keeps attacking you could be another form of the falling star beast, like going through a metamorphosis.
Actually, really interesting and probably true. But the fact that you can just kill it from far away is like, if you have a good bow and enough ballista arrows and shit.
It's just like fighting a cocoon. What are you going to do? Harden on me? Get out of here.
Also, random side note, the crystal mine that you get teleported into, one of my favorite, most sadistic PvP invasion spots.
Oh, really?
Because half the people you're getting are random low levels that got teleported there by the transporter trap.
Yep.
And then you're invading a
pickings.
little naked carrying a club guy.
Yeah.
If you just want to be a giant asshole on the internet, which I often love to be.
Well, what I would do is I would wait for them to just realize how bad it was, and I would just follow them around, not attacking, just like kind of looking at them and doing gestures, like, isn't this great? And then if they get out, then I kill them.
Oh, I straight up don't even have to fight half the low levels because I just sit back
just
and
get
wait for them to
murdered
get
by
killed
the-
by the pests.
Yeah.
And the other half are the extremely high level people that come back to kill the falling star beast, and then you just get like beat into the dirt
Housed.
by obscenely high level magic.
Yep, I beat 2 of the falling star beasts. I don't want to face the one on top of Mount Gelmir.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It looks hard, and
It's
I'm just
really bad.
even with my
Yeah,
mimic
and it's-
tier,
and it's
like,
optional.
Scarlet Rot. I know it's
fully
optional.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to clean up the map. I'm not one of these people who's just going to be like, oh, leave these threads open. Not with a game like this. I can't do it. Eventually, I will look up a guide. I think I might do a New Game Plus with this.
That might be the best bet, honestly.
I don't know what New Game Plus gives me.
For this game,
Yeah.
you just keep the stuff.
Yeah.
You just keep everything?
And it's just a little tougher.
Yeah, all the enemies are tougher, so you get more souls, and you can kind of just runes.
There's no level cap, I guess.
Yeah, there is.
There's a soft cap. Yeah.
There's, what was it? It's like 730 or something weird.
Yeah. Once you hit that, you're basically
mean-
you have to get so many runes, it's virtually impossible.
I
to
think it's
level.
like 8 million runes is a level at the very end.
right.
Yeah.
So unless you're literally game breaking.
I mean, I think it'd be fun to do one New Game Plus run just to have all of your items. And I mean, it would be fun to just
you know how
charge through the
quickly-
game as fast as you could.
Do you know how hard you could whip that first area with, like, if you had, like, proper
No,
spells?
just going
Dude,
back
the
into
tree
that.
sentinel and just make him your bitch.
Yeah.
Bam!
And also the first guy that the what is the first boss's name that
Yeah, the tree sentinel.
no, the one that you fight in the little side area.
The tutorial.
Yeah, that guy.
The regular soldier.
The Godric soldier.
Godric soldier.
No, before that when you wake up in the church.
Oh, the grafted scion.
the grafted scion, yeah.
Do you think you
grafted
could defeat the Grafted Scion?
You can defeat
You
it.
can go back and fight him, you know.
Well, you can
Oh, I
also
know you go back to fight
You can
him.
also defeat him your very first game if you're very
How do you get
possible.
back? How do you get back to that church? I've never
The
figured that.
4 belfries. There's a giant
which one?
mountain in the like Liurnia of the Lakes.
Yeah, I know that.
He's
I know.
in the, right.
I have one of the keys to get.
He's
into
in the second highest one. It's the anticipation, I believe it's called.
Okay.
What's-
I'm gonna go in there.
What's your rune tattoo you got?
Oh, it's from it's the stylized version of the Mark of Cain from Supernatural.
Okay.
But the original one is obviously biblical. It's the curse of the first son or the curse of the first murderer,
I know that
depending
story,
on
right?
your
Abel and Cain and Abel?
Yeah, Cain and Abel.
Yeah,
the father of murder,
Yeah.
aka the curse of the eldest son.
They never told us that cool shit in Catholic school. They're like, and
yeah.
they were good brothers.
No.
And they hugged each other.
He is the curse of the firstborn.
Yeah. Curse of the firstborn. Well, that's why I got the tattoo on myself, as I'm the eldest son in my family.
Yeah.
So having the curse of the first son kind of seemed fitting. And also I'm obsessed with that show. So
Okay. I would be like the Praetor Rickard in my family, I think. Yeah.
I think I'd probably be the dung eater. But my mom would be like, okay, it's fine.
He's in prison right now, but we love him.
Yeah.
he's in prison for finding the only way to permanently kill someone that still exists.
But if you defeat this Falling Star Beast, they do give you the Somber Stone Miner's Bell Bearing, so you can actually buy Somber Smithing Stones 1 and 2, which is pretty cool. Since they are
I've
not.
been grinding the shit out of the like somber and regular smithing stone bell bearings.
Yeah. I mean, also, you can buy Somber Smithing Stones from EG. You can
yeah.
buy the first 4 or 5. But
Yeah, but only a few. He
But-
doesn't have. Does he have infinite stock?
4 and 5, they're limited. I think the first 3 you can buy infinite. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. But yes, now we're finally ready to go into the Celia town of sorcery. Full of invisible sorcerers,
Hate it.
invisible royal wandering nobles,
Terrible.
and dogs.
I have a random meta curiosity
Okay.
that literally just popped into my head. The revealing torch
Yes.
that you can get to fight the Black Hand assassins. Does that reveal the sorcerers as well?
I don't know. I know there is a torch I wanted to mention in the next episode for sure. But
Beast one.
yeah, the beast repellent torch is great for here. But
Huge. But yeah, it literally just popped in my head because they're invisible.
if it reveals things that are invisible, I would imagine the torch has to work. That I would
But
just
do they count as invisible or immaterial? Because the Black Hand assassins, you can still hit them while they're invisible. But these guys, like you said, they go immaterial. I'm wondering if that torch actually
It's almost like
affects them.
teleportation in a lot of ways. Yeah.
I wonder if that torch affects them and keeps them revealed.
I don't care because it's usually just a situation where you can kind of guess when they pop up, and they have such a huge swing that they build into that you can if you dodge roll properly.
Oh, right.
Obviously, you can.
I'm not
kind of
pitching
get
it
rid
as
of them.
strategy. It was just a
No.
random curiosity, I suppose.
Yeah.
It would be interesting because there are not many areas of the game that utilize that.
Right.
So-
it's it's basically just them and the assassins as like major enemies go.
And those assassins, I mean, fuck them. You can easily just get out of the way of them too. It's all dodge rolling.
But
everything's about dodge roll.
But these stealthy motherfuckers got me when I was ready for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the first time I went in there and I thought there was, if I just fought one of them, I'm like, oh God.
Thank God I got past that guy.
And then you run into town and like 4 of them spawn in. Yeah, and some of them have those big fucking swords that they use, and it makes me very frustrated, you know?
What's a specific spell?
Yeah.
which is also dope to use later.
It is. The wind-up's a bit too much for my taste, though. I'll prefer ranged over anything.
Have you considered getting good?
I've always gotten good.
Yeah.
The getting good means I don't even have to approach them.
That's fair.
In this beautiful town of sorcery, you can find the red main painting, one of the painting puzzles. I just showed you earlier where you get down to find it, and I tried to show you, but I couldn't make the jumps.
I already made it.
Out of Lena's Rise when you go down there.
Yeah.
Yep, that'll get
That was a very rough dungeon.
Which one?
What?
The one that you jumped down to?
No, not this one. Not this one. That's the one that you can get to from the.
Oh, that one fucking murdered me.
From the bestial cleric?
No. This dungeon is the one you go to from Radahn's area, the dunes, the one.
Yeah.
The Wailing Dunes, I think it's called. But no, this one you jump down that direction, but you don't go all the way down. This is just solving the painting puzzle, and it gets you the rain of arrows attack. There's a teardrop scarab up in a tree above the town of sorcery that gives you the double slash technique.
I got that.
Yeah, not too hard to get, but it's just funny to see a little teardrop scarab
Just
running
hanging
around there. There's a weapon on the rooftops. You can find the Staff of Loss, which is pretty cool. It's a staff missing its glintstone, and it boosts the attack power of invisible sorceries by 30%.
Only good for PvP, in my opinion. But
Pretty much.
because the enemies aren't tricked by it. So who cares? Because you get invisible sorcery from... who teaches you that?
I don't know. I would imagine they're like generally
I think Gowry?
I mean,
The only invisible sorcery I knew was the invisible form, and you got that from like the assassin's school in one of the catacombs.
I think Celia has night sorceries.
yeah.
And
Well, that also involves invisible sorcery.
Right.
yeah, so that would boost those invisible sorcery attacks.
Because you get ones that are invisible blades.
Oh. The invisible missiles piss me off in PvP.
Yeah.
You
That's another
literally
one
get
you
hit by something you can barely see coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember where you get it, but every single time I stumble into it. So I know it exists. Even when I'm not a sorcery character.
One of the cool things about there's locked behind those blue doors when you unlock them. Every time you unlock one of these braziers or light them up, something gets unlocked. If you do all three, the big door gets unlocked. But things locked behind those blue doors, one of them is an imbued sword key for the 4 belfries. Yep. You can get the spell the Night Comet, which is a night sorcery of Celia. It fires a semi-invisible magic comet and can be cast repeatedly and while in motion. Sorceries you can cast while running are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the one that pisses me off in PvP.
Yeah.
Because they just run in circles to avoid your melee attacks.
Yeah.
And just swinging a stick above their heads, and then you get hit by a giant invisible rock.
Yep.
I still barely. The only time I've ever dabbled in PvP was mandatory, required by White Masked Vara.
Moog's Quest, yeah.
Yeah.
So you invaded exactly 3 times, or?
Pretty much. Yeah. And was frustrated every time.
But the whole bonus of, outside of the whole, grinding rune farm region, is that he gives you the bloody finger, which gives you infinite invasions.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy the items to invade people.
And also, I can just never use it again. Myself, anyways. I will dabble in PvP at some point, but I get frustrated enough with real enemies. Yeah, with regular enemies.
Me too.
Oh, it gets so much worse, dude. I've broken a keyboard.
Oh, so
You
you're
play on PC.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Play on
Yeah.
PC, all right.
Ooh. Sounds like you have to learn how to get good.
That's very true, actually. I've cracked my desk. Mm-hmm. I've literally got a crack down the middle of my desk from punching the top of it.
From PvP.
From Dark Souls and Elden Ring PvP, exactly.
What are you going to do?
If I had neighbors, all they would hear is, God, fuck this shit. I wasn't even yelling.
I do have upstairs neighbors, and they deserve it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Give it to them. Yes, but also, if you unlock all of these doors, you can unlock the boss battle for the Caelid Town of Sorcery. It's the dual bosses of a Nox Swordstress and a Nox Priest.
The easiest things to kill in the world, in other words.
If you have any level of strength.
Or any incantations.
Yeah, it's interesting to find these here.
Two
these
lightning hits from...
Right.
They were done.
The lore of the Nox will be covered on a later episode in greater detail, but suffice it to say, they invoked the ire of the Greater Will, and the Nox were banished underground. They were powerful sorcerers and warriors, and Celia is, I think, secretly learning from them. They don't want to admit that they're kind of studying some of these sorceries. And so these two are up here guarding this little area. What they're guarding is Master Lusat's staff. So Lusat was also dabbling in this forbidden magic a little bit.
My first character was able to wield this, and it is very good.
Yeah.
I upgraded it all the way. It's the best staff in the game.
Lusat's...
played through that whole area in someone else's world to help my friend get that staff.
Yeah, the number of magic items I got in my first playthrough that I never touched because I just wasn't a magician. I'm like, wow, this looks cool. I'll read the lore. And then go back to my Sword of Night and Flame again.
Oh, jeez.
The Lusat's Glintstone Staff, it's one of the primeval Glintstone sorcerers, Lusat. Scales with strength and intelligence, 50% increased FP cost, but high sorcery scaling. This will increase the power of your attacks drastically. So it does cost a little bit more to use, but don't miss your spells and it'll be worth it.
Also an integral part of the cheesiest mage build that exists in Elden Ring.
Yeah, which I did. Mm-hmm.
The Comet Azul.
Oh, yes, which is part of the Sword of Night and Flame.
With the Comet Azul spell, with that staff and the tier for the flask that gives you unlimited FP usage.
Ooh.
There's a specific tier you can get that makes all spells cost... Well,
I never got that
technically all spells and skills. It reduces all FP usage to 0 for like 10 seconds. But because the spell, the Comet Azul is like a freaking Kamehameha that you can just hold down.
Very cool.
And if you cast it in time within the sigil, there's another sigil spell you can get that like buffs all sorceries.
Yeah.
You do that, you buff all your sorceries with the sigil, you buff all your sorceries with the staff, you drop the tier, and you can burn down literally every boss in the game within 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's true.
Literally
I've seen
everything.
videos of it, and I'm just like, what are you even doing? I don't know. Didn't look up a guide.
It's in the game. You won.
Okay. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, use whatever you want.
That's just an intelligent combo.
Oh, I know. It's why I'm using Scarlet Rot. It's just like...
I apologized to Dylan when he came over and he just saw me using the Sword of Night and Flame. I'm like, yeah, I'm using it a lot. It's OP. You're like, it looks like it's a crutch for you. Yes, Brad.
it's fine to have crutches in these games, though, because it's literally just like, if it works... It's in the game.
Yeah.
If you can exploit it, it's like...
And they buffed it down. So like they're watching these things, anything that's super cheese, they're like, all right, we're going to rebalance this a little bit.
Because when I used it for one of my characters, I was like, this ain't so great.
I've been reusing it again because I'll just take my main character and I'll go back into these places and just clean up the things I haven't done. And he's still rocking that Sword of Night and Flame. And it's not as good as it used to be.
Oh, not at all.
No.
And the Bell-Bearing Hunter in Caelid showed me that. I got him like half health, and he just decimated.
I will say this, that like particular mage combo does require either a very tanky summon or a co-op partner.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to basically just completely stand still.
Yeah.
And it requires, for the most part, semi-stationary enemies. You got somebody like Malakath, or even to a lesser extent, the Bell-Bearing Hunters that jump around a lot. you're just going to get screwed because they're going to dodge right out of your one laser blast and then just annihilate you.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, I didn't even fuck around with half this stuff because playing this without a guide, I'm first of all kind of pissed I'm not, and also so glad I'm not.
I reached a point myself. I played with almost no guide at all, and then I got to a point where I felt like the map was pretty complete, and
then you just wanted to find the cuts and corners wherever you had to go.
And even then, I was like, "Oh, that Holly Tree is a new area," or Mogwin's Palace. There was enough that I didn't know about, but also I reached a point where I just want to know what else is in the game. I've put like 80 hours in. I feel ready.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to a point where I was ready to break it, but I'm very happy I didn't use a guide for 90% of my playthrough. It got to a point though where I was very okay to see what I was missing.
Oh, definitely.
There's so much that I wouldn't have seen if I didn't, and I was more concerned about getting the full story and experience.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that this is a game that wants you to read, and they want you to investigate.
Yeah.
And for the most part, people are not going to experience probably 33% of the entire map. The consecrated grounds, no one's ever going to touch those.
The way to get to the consecrated snowfields, yes,
it's obscure.
It's very obscure.
Because you have to switch which metal to use on a fucking elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out. And so I love games like this, and I simultaneously am just like, I don't know.
It's equal parts. That's an amazing amount of depth. And how the fuck am I supposed to figure that out
on your own?
Well, and then there are things like something you discover in the royal capital where you have to use a specific gesture in front of an extremely specific statue. And I was sitting there
near the Colosseum there,
and I was like, why would people do that? And then I found out though that the Turtle Pope will hint like,
well, he hints, but at best he just says.
But he says like something like, "There's a statue that reveals the true nature of America and Radagon," or something like that.
All he says is that it's a statue of Radagon, but it has his skeleton in the closet hidden within. That's it.
He killed a hooker when he was running for office.
That's all it says is that the statue in the city has
he crashed a guide to the Potomac.
Great secret.
But I mean, then you just imagine the armies of people that are hitting walls trying to find invisible walls with health bars, and you're like, of course, someone went and gestured everywhere,
right?
Yeah, but I mean, like this one was kind of obvious about the hint. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know about the gesture. It didn't really...
But when you see the first person do it, and you see their phantom doing it, you're kind of like, all right,
that's true. That is true. Once you like the phantoms tell you those things.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of fake phantoms out there doing dumb shit.
Yeah, but I mean, like you can tell when it's kind of true because you're like, why would they build this giant thing and not have anything attached to it?
If any, I mean, the benefits of online versus offline play. I get frustrated though when they do a small amount of storytelling, like in Stormvale, when Rogier, there are moments where you see what happens to his, like, how he died, but you wouldn't know it because there's little red circles all over. You don't activate all of them, and one of them is actually coded into the game.
Yeah.
So you don't actually see his, like, body getting destroyed by the spirit down there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you miss story beats because of it, but also the number of times that you see someone walk through a wall and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's still the greatest flaw of the game. Like, it's still, like, I can understand locking out content for secret purposes. Listen, I've been playing Metroid Zero Mission on my Game Boy Micro, and it's basically a recreation of the first Metroid game. And even in Dread, there are times where you have to shoot everywhere within a room in order to get a specific block that you can then pass through.
Yep.
And it's annoying.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder...
Overrated.
Whether... Oh, God. This was my game of last year. That's why he's saying this.
I still an 8 out of a 10. Still overrated, in my opinion.
I think it's greatly rated. Just because I love Metroid. Yeah, a bit of a shill for it. But it's also like... Wait, what was yours last year?
Was it Resident Evil Village? Was that last year?
Didn't we all agree Village was like the podcast?
That was the podcast game
favorite.
of the year. I think so, yeah.
I think everyone was just like, yeah, it has to be this.
I still loved Dread, but it was underwhelming compared to what people had said about it.
Sure.
I still loved it, but it's not
Is
the greatest
everyone-
Metroidvania.
Is everyone going to say Elden Ring?
80% of this is going over my head.
Elden Ring is
fine, don't worry
the
about it.
game of the year for sure.
I actually think there are contenders, but
If there's something better than Elden Ring this year, I'd be happy. But I don't think it's happening.
Kirby in the Forgotten Land? Pretty good.
He's serious.
Ironically
not
enough,
kidding.
I think Stray might have a chance.
I don't know. I can't play it. I don't have a PS5.
I haven't played it myself, but it's been getting huge reviews.
I saw a Series X in the wild the other day.
I did too. It was at Target.
Yep. And I'm like,
It hasn't been bought for like month.
and I was like, look at that. It's just sitting in a
It's
case.
like I literally turned to Jordan and I'm like, Jordan, look, it's one of them.
This was worth $900.
And then I
6 months ago.
literally went like this. I just slapped my face like Macaulay Culkin. I ran over to the PlayStation side and I'm just like, no.
No.
I saw exactly one PS5 in the wild in the last 9 months.
That's amazing.
And it was during the exactly 1 week that I had $0 to my name.
Oh my God.
It was the most depressing shit.
Yeah.
Oh, but I wouldn't.
You want to hear the worst thing?
Can't,
You want to hear the worst thing? It was at
Yeah.
the Target on Chase.
get the fuck out
No
of here.
way.
Exactly one.
Yep.
God damn it.
Yep.
Damn it. I mean, it's fine. I have a Series X. I have Game Pass. I'm
Well, see, but I have a
technically
PC,
ruling.
so
I had a PC. It died on me.
Since we
I
were,
have a PC and Game Pass. So I have all the
Whoa,
same games.
dude.
since we recorded the last Elden Ring a long time ago, I believe that the potential name of the DLC was leaked in the interim, because Bandai
What's it being
Namco
called?
had a leak where their schedule for upcoming things was revealed, and allegedly the name for the DLC is supposed to be Barbarians of the Badlands, and
Oh, Horaloo?
Horalu and Nefelilu is a barbarian as well. I don't know if that's true. I mean, this was just an alleged leak. It could be a temporary title as well for them. I mean, my prediction for the DLC is Mikola.
That was on my list.
He's the only demigod we didn't fight, and the only one that we know next to nothing about, other than they were trapped in childhood forever, but they were still smart.
But didn't
And Mogwin
yeah.
was trying to be his wife. Oh, Mogwin, you're desperate for power. I'm going to marry this fucking kid. I'm going to be king now.
Also my semi-brother?
A half-brother,
Half-brother.
I think. Mogwin was Horalu and Marika's son.
Right. But
And
if you subscribe to the concept that Marika and Radagon were always the same person,
Yeah.
but in different guises, then
this would be a half-sibling, though.
and one of the Finger
know-
Maidens alluded to the fact that all of the demigods were born of Marika directly. Then they're definitely siblings.
They're definitely siblings in some way.
By
Maybe
blood.
half siblings.
but still siblings by
So
blood.
who did America fuck?
Well, I don't know about how...
Renala and also Horalu.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how fractions work when you fuck yourself. It breaks down to me there. If Brad and Marika are the same person and they have a baby,
Well, it's got to be 25%. 75%.
I think that's the opposite direction.
175%.
150%? I don't know.
125% your brother.
Yeah.
Let's just say 75.
Oh,
Let's
it's
call it
worse. It's worse. Are we operating on the assumption that all of these gods and demigods are fully gender fluid down to the physical
that. No, I don't
Dem-
think so.
personification?
Demigods are not gender fluid. I think it's only Marika that winds up getting to have the other half.
but the gods themselves.
Well, there's
The gods you never see.
there's a can of worms right there.
Right.
We see the blood of the blood god, the formless mother,
Right.
because Mogwin stabs up in the air and blood comes down.
Right.
So we see the blood.
so we've got the beast as
There's
the emissary.
There's the blood of the god of Rot, which we don't see, but we know that some blue dancer fought them, guided by a fairy, and millennia trained with them. We know that much. So nothing.
And the beast itself was sent by the Greater Will, right? As the emissary.
Yeah, we know the greater will. There's a few other gods we're missing.
So we got Greater Will, we've got the god of Rot, and we've got the god of Blood.
I'm not going to open up this can of worms right now.
We literally cannot.
There's so much.
But you're doing a great job.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
God.
I can still barely keep up half the time because there's so many G, R's, and M's. I'm done with it.
Well, and then they also say the very first Elden Lord, Horalu, a.k.a. Godfrey. Or not Godfrey. Godfrey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They just changed his name straight up.
But then also, Placidusax was an Elden Lord, and you're like, wait a second. Are you ancient? Are you out of time? Are you from the future? What's going on here, Placidusax? But we'll talk about that in 8 months on our Crumbling Fair Missoula episode. But we're gonna
It's that far away.
We're gonna take a break here. We've defeated this Elliot town of sorcery. We're gonna keep going up to the Dragon Barrow next episode, and
the Bestial Sanctum.
The Bestial Sanctum, the Divine Tower. The Dragon Barrow is much more difficult. Everything scales up a little higher over that way, and it's gonna get worse. And then we're also gonna go fight Radahn next episode as well.
Hell yeah, dude.
We're gonna try to.
Thank you. 7 times we're gonna try to.
Yeah, that motherfucker. Thank you so much for joining us today, Miles, aka Blaidd. Blaidd. Fuck, I do that all the time. Blaidd.
It's Welsh.
I wish you had a Welsh accent. That'd be fun. But yeah, thanks for joining us again. We loved having you. We always do.
Oh, I'll just keep showing up as long as you keep asking me.
Well, you'll definitely be back on for Elden Dogs for sure, and whatever other podcast topics we got. Hair the Dogcast exists because of people like you, so thanks for listening. If you have questions, you can email us at hairthedogcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Instagram at hairthedogcast or Twitter at hotdogcast. If you want access to a bunch of episodes, our after show, Doggies After Dark, and an exclusive podcast where we talk about movies and television called Popcorn Dogs, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/hairthedogcast. Also, these Elden Dogs episodes so far have been available about a month in advance at least. So if you want the next episode and you're on the regular feed, if you just enter at the $3 tier, you'll get at least 2 more episodes right away. Thanks to executive producers Ryan Christianick, Tyler Keller, Kip, Brian Ward, and Katie Bone. And yes, the next Elden Dogs, we already said what that's going to be. And I have no idea what the next Dogcast will be because we record these so far in advance. It's going to be a good one, though.
Yeah, probably. I hope so.
Dylan's going to say some funny shit on it, I know.
Oh, God, I'm going to be so funny. I was literally going to say, if we get 10 more subscribers to our Patreon, I will do a podcast on my own, not edited.
Not edited by me.
Not edited at all, in fact. And I'll just release it for the Patreon, and I'll call it Rogue Dogs.
Uh-oh. It's going to be specifically about the X-Men character Rogue. The entire podcast.
I just love that big-boobed Southern girl.
Whose only power is stealing other powers.
That's a pretty good power, though.
Southern accent and a white streak is kind of a hot spot there, though.
I feel criminally underused in the movies. She was there, but she never really did anything that cool other than just fuck people over.
Yeah, Anna Paquin, maybe. Was that fault there? I don't know.
It felt like that was mostly character writing. They really didn't utilize what she should have been.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have Shawn Ashmore, the legendary Animorphs actor.
Well, she technically got the powers of Ms. Marvel.
She can make giant light hands?
No, that's not the powers of Ms. Marvel. You're talking about the stupid show that came out?
She makes light hands.
No, not that Miss Marvel. We're talking about Carol Danvers before she was Captain Marvel.
Oh, you mean Captain Marvel.
I don't want to explain Marvel stuff because apparently I get corrected, even though I was right the first fucking time.
we did
Go to hell, you goobers. I don't give a shit.
We did a Raw Dogs episode that was Batman versus Spider-Man games. And
I was right.
And one guy just like live tweeted at us, just like, nope. No.
Just nope.
He was the comic book guy. You want to know what an alternate universe to the Marvel universe is? Ours. I'll tell you what. It doesn't matter. Grow up.
And if you want to listen to the next year-long worth of Elden Dogs, we do matter.
No, well, we matter.
Oh.
Not them.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.
Bye, guys.
Beautiful.